You have to know what is the right approach for the right environment.
Okay, building your own brand,
Right?
and your brand
and
is
so
you
your
representing.
brand have to show up in the right environment.
Okay.
And so whether it's wearing your blue blazer or whether it's issuing an attitude of confidence.
Okay.
That's also part of your brand. Like people know, hey, you're someone who's gonna come and he's gonna bring energy every
Yeah,
time. Like, oh yeah, Gary's here.
Yeah.
The environment is, so make it part of your brand. If that's who you are, make that part of your brand. You've always got to issue confidence because people like people who's confident, and that's going to open up doors. It's going to give you opportunity. The other thing is, and I said this too, is how you carry yourself. That is also part of your brand. And brand is critically important to people having the right perception of you, because then you're top of mind when certain opportunities come up. Like, hey, if your brand is being a finance guy, when a finance opportunity comes up, they can say, hey, you need to call Gary.
Yeah.
Right?
They know right away because
if your brand is real estate, they're like, oh, I've got a house to sell.
Call Gary.
Call Gary, right?
I think you build your own brand
Yes.
with a lot of branches too.
Yes. So I kind of alluded to this. Hey, good night. So I alluded to this earlier. As being a Caribbean guy, there's a lot of different hats I wear. So Liberty Mutual is one job, and currently I'm a director there. But other jobs that I have is my own kind of entrepreneurial endeavors, and one of them, which is part of a passion that I have, is real estate.
Real estate, okay.
So I'm a broker and owner of a real estate company in Boston, real estate professionals, and I'm also the owner of Chez Mango Villa in Montserrat.
Oh, yes, we know about that.
So that's kind of more the hoteling piece, if you will.
So I hope many people have seen, because I've shared your Chase Mangoes Villa at the Montserrat a few times with a lot of my friends, and I hope, to be honest with you, some of them will reach out and book your villa, because I know you made a lot of expansions in your property.
So that's part of the brand. Like anytime they want to think about going to the Caribbean, going to a paradise type of island, anytime they think about wanting to get some relaxation, some tranquility, magnificent views, they should think about me and Chez Mango Villa. And so that's kind of the brand that I build there. But you've got to build your brand so that people think of you within that perspective. And then
what's the last B? Because you have 4 B's.
Balance.
Balance, okay.
Balance.
Is that balance between work and home life, or balance of what?
Yeah, so when you think about that, you're
I'm
like how you move your hands.
Yeah.
It's like things are balanced. But what I've learned about balance is that it's not about being truly balanced.
Okay.
Sometimes you've got to go hard at something and put all your time and effort. Like when I'm, trying to renovate a house, I might work around the clock. I might not see the family because I'm working till 3 in the morning. I'll get back up at 5.
Sometimes my sister tells me, Gary's like,
I get back up at 5
here.
and I'm back at it, and that's what I do. But then once that's done, then I'm happy to go to Vegas and spend the entire week with the family, right? Yeah. So and then I'm not doing real estate, I'm doing Vegas, right? So balance is knowing when to go hard at certain things. Okay. It's not like everything, because everything cannot be even all the time. And the other thing about balance is knowing how to leverage time, because time is our most valuable asset. And
yes,
so
it is.
You have to make sure that your time is on your side and that you're prioritizing the right thing.
Prioritizing.
Right. And so, some of the things that you do always have to prioritize is faith, and you have to prioritize family. But you have to be smart about how you use that time. And one of the books that I read was this book called Attack Your Day.
Okay.
Which means of the fact that, hey, you're going to focus on these top 3 things.
Okay, attack your day.
There's
That's
a million things
title.
that you could be doing, right? But you have to think about, okay, what
Attack
are the
the 3 things.
What are the things that are going to make the biggest difference? And those things are what you should be working on. And then the other things that are kind of medium, you can schedule like an hour during your day where you just knock out a lot of those little things.
Okay.
And then the other thing that you can do is say no.
Say no
When
to
you say
responsibility
no
that people
to-
ask you.
Yeah, then that just gives you back your time immediately, and not be afraid to say no. Sometimes you do. And then the other thing, you've got to know how to delegate.
Okay.
You know, because
That's hard. Delegation,
because you've got to find a way to move some of that stuff to other people who's capable of doing it, or even if they're not capable of doing it to the level that you are, giving them the opportunity to learn.
Okay.
And so you then get to what's called about not trading your time for money. A lot of people, they get into this phase of they trade their time for money. So, for example, say I was working at a McDonald's, right? McDonald's pays me 9 to 5. I go there at 9 in the morning and I leave at 5. And within that time, I make $10 an hour. So that's what my max is, and I'm trading my time for money. Now, what you want to move to is, out of that trading your time for money and doing things that way you put a lot of effort into one time and it translates into money all the time.
Okay.
So, for example,
investment,
and like if you're doing a real estate investment, say for example you renovate this house, you put a lot of time into doing it, but after that,
it's gonna make money for you.
It's making rental income, and that money is made regardless of whether you're home sleeping or you're in Cambodia or you're in Montserrat. It's still making money.
Gary,
right?
how many times have you been to Cambodia?
4 times.
4 times.
Yes.
Do you like it over there?
Oh, I love Cambodia. I love traveling everywhere.
Yeah.
But I do love Cambodia. I love Sihanoukville. I love Siem Reap. And of course, I love Kapong Spur because it's where the family. Where the family is from. And I did love Battambang because they had a nice, lot of different things that we can do there too. But what I'm saying is, you don't want to be in the business of trading your time for money. And the reason why you don't want to do that is because you would limit yourself. And when I say that, if say for example, you could make 1 chair every hour, okay? That would mean within a day, you could only make 24 chairs.
Because there's only 24 hours.
Right.
Okay.
But now, if you can get 10 people to make a chair for you.
And that's multiplied by 24. You got 240.
Yeah, exactly. So that's how you change the game of not trading your time for money, so that you create more value, you create more wealth within the limited time that we have. Because we all have a time that we've been born and a time that we die, and it's a relatively short time. So we don't have much time, and we don't have much control over that. And there's nothing you can do to get an extra hour in the day.
Okay, there's nothing because it's always the same.
It's always the same.
24 hours a day. So
how do you maximize the day?
Okay.
You have to start thinking, get out of the mindset of trading your time for money and get into the mindset of, okay, what can I do to maximize that day?
Okay.
Right? And you want to do things where you do a lot. You can, put in a lot of time and effort into it up front, and then it just works for you from there on in.
Wow. Now, Gary, I was just thinking, like, if you can give a few advices to people, like to better themselves in terms of learning English language or in terms of doing businesses, to better themselves, what would be some advices you would give them?
I think the first and most important advice is to remain humble. That's number one. Because you can find yourself unsuccessful because people think unsuccessful. If people see you as someone who is pompous or braggadocious, or so you always have to remain humble. The other thing is that you always have to be overly thankful. You always make sure that you thank everyone for what they do. And here's why. people don't remember what you say. People
But they
remember how you make them feel.
Yep, how they feel.
And so you have to let people know you appreciate them and you're thankful for whatever that they overly thankful of what they do for you.
Okay.
So those are the really the biggest life lessons that anyone could embrace to be successful.
So be humble, and overly thankful. Any other advices?
Oh, there's tons. We'll be there all night.
Okay. Now I'm gonna switch back a little bit. I know you are into business because that's your career. I'm gonna ask you as a person who's a teacher. Okay, that's my profession, and many people know. Now, if someone is trying to not master but to be proficient in English, what would the advice be from you to them?
I would say that, to be proficient in anything, you have to practice.
Yeah.
It's about repetition. I think there was a book called 10,000 Hours. I don't know if you've ever seen it.
No, I have not read that book.
And it says that if you do 10,000 hours, basically the concept of the book is, if you do anything for 10,000 hours, you become very proficient at it. And the kind of the takeaway there is that you have to keep practicing, and the more you practice, the better you're going to become. So if you want to, be better with English, you have to practice. And practice can come a lot of different ways. You can practice by trying to engage with others who speak English, right? You can practice by, watching the TV. You can practice by maybe playing some kind of interactive game. You don't have to do it one way. There's multiple ways that you achieve that, but you have to keep doing it.
Practicing. Okay. My goodness, Gary.
Yeah.
How many minutes already that we've been talking? Now I have to say thank you so much for all of the great advices, all information that you gave us, the 4 B's.
Yeah.
Okay. Build your brain.
Yeah.
Build your member.
Your board.
Your board. Your board member.
Yeah.
Build your brand and
your
balance. Okay.
Yes.
And the other advices that you said when I asked you how can an English speaker, like a person who's learning English, can be better or more proficient, you said to practice.
Yeah, and that goes for anything.
Anything.
Not just learning
English.
But anything that you want to be better at, you just have to practice. And if, you do 10,000 hours of it, there's really a study that's shown that anyone who's ever achieved anything great, that's what they put into it.
Okay.
And if you want to achieve anything great in any area, you've got to put 10,000 hours or more into that.
One last question.
Yep.
Like you went through so many years of schooling, 45 years.
Yes.
I say 48,
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
Now, what was the most challenging, experience that you've had when you were going through school to get your doctorate degree? If you can recall, like the most challenging.
Well, when you're getting a doctoral degree, the most challenging piece is the iterative kind of process that it has. And so in any doctoral study, you have to write and rewrite and read and rewrite and read and rewrite. And
editing, right?
And you do that for 5 to 7 years. So again, you're putting in a lot of time. And so that is the most challenging, but it's the best way to learn because again, you're really practicing, right? And so that's the takeaway. And then there's this formal steps. There's you have to go through what's called an IRB, an institutional review board. So they have to approve your study, and that you have to do the
See, I didn't get up to the doctoral degree level, so I have no idea what IRB stands for. So what does it stand for again?
Institutional Review Board.
Institutional Review Board.
Yes.
Okay, so
and so
they have
anyone
to approve.
anyone who get a doctoral degree for any kind of doctorate, their study has to be approved by an IRB.
Okay. Any other advices or anything that you want the viewers or anybody say come onto my page and see these clips of yours, what would you say?
Hey, I would say
words?
the only thing I would say is come to Montserrat.
Okay.
You know,
and make sure book at Chess
book at
Mango,
Shea
Villa.
That's for sure.
And if you ever want your house to be sold, or you want anything looking into buying houses, you
anything
can.
Real estate. If you got a good investment opportunity, you know, that I don't have to trade my time for money.
How about Liberty Mutual? What do you do? Like what kind of services? You said insurance.
Yes. So Liberty Mutual does, you know, is a global company. They make about over $40 billion a year.
$40 billion?
Yeah. If you think about anything at all, Liberty is involved with it in one way or the other.
Okay.
Whether you're talking about insurance for your phone, whether you're talking about building a bridge, whether, you know, mopeds in Vietnam, they're all, most of them are somehow connected with Liberty Mutual Insurance.
Okay.
So there are just, it's a huge, and it blows my mind because I never even knew how expansive insurance could be, but it's a huge, and it's actually one of the less known industries that can provide a plethora of different career opportunities.
Wow. Well, let me just get in the frame. I'm gonna say, you know what? ជំរាបលាបងប្អូនអានេះបងប្អូនថ្លៃរបស់ខ្ញុំហើយគេរៀនបានជ្រះជ្រៅមែនតើហើយខ្ញុំចង់ឲ្យបងប្អូនខ្លះដែលថារៀនភាសាអង់គ្លេសឬមួយ studying in business so that you can actually learn a few things from Gary. I'm not saying a few things. I think you can learn a lot of things from Gary. សូមអរគុណច្រើនបងប្អូនណាដែលថាចូលមកនៅក្នុងmy page.
អរគុណ
What else can you say? Just អរគុណអត់ជ្រាបលាទេហ៎
លីហើយ
មកជ្រាបលាជ្រាបលាបងប្អូនអរគុណច្រើនហើយជួបគ្នាលើកក្រោយទៀតអរគុណច្រើនបាយបាយ